Lenon is a friend of mine. He is somebody that I admire greatly, so I'll just put that out there for whatever that's worth. He's a family man, which is one of the most inspiring components of his research, but he goes further. He talks about trauma-based mind control. You might have seen his presentation from the last Free Your Mind conference. He talks about transhumanism. He talks about being a proper role model for families, and so, the list goes on and on and on. And so we can let Lenon get into his presentation. I won't waste any more time. Ladies and gentlemen, Lenon Honor.
Well, greetings, everyone. Can you hear me? And do I need to talk louder? A little bit louder? Okay, let me just move the microphone a little bit closer like that. Okay. My name is Lenon Honor, and I am so thankful to be here for quite a few reasons. One is that it's not often that we have wonderful, wonderful people who are seeking to free their minds coalesce in one location. Is that not true? Yes, give it up. Another reason why, for me, it's so important, and I'm excited to be here, is because it gives me an opportunity to present to you all some information that I believe will help a lot of you, and I hope all of you. I want us to understand one thing in the first place, and that is that part of freeing your mind has to do with how we are raised in the first place. Let me ask a question. When we are conceived, are our minds already free? Let's think about that. I'm talking about when we're conceived, so there's some sexual activity that takes place. I know about that, okay? But a baby is conceived, and from that moment on, there is conditioning that takes place. And for a lot of us, that conditioning is directly related to mind control. And then we go through this process. At a certain point, we realize we're mind controlled. We seek to what? Free our minds. So part of what I want to do is give you an example of what my wife and I, what we're doing for our children. We have 5 of them, so that they will have a sovereign mind, and their mind will be free. Okay, but this can be applied to all of us, though, things that we can all do. Okay, so this is why I'm excited to be here. And I also want to thank Bob for reaching out to me. Good brother. I respect the brother. He's raising his family. He's doing the right thing. He's also highly intelligent, and he's an inspiration. I wish when I was his age, I was on that level, because who knows where I would be here today. So I want to thank Bob Tuskin. Y'all give it up for Bob Tuskin. The focus of my talk, and I want to say lecture, but I'm going to say talk because I'm a very laid-back kind of person. If I could, I would walk around and kind of talk with people and stop and give you hugs and all that kind of stuff, too. For those of y'all who've met me, you know I like to give hugs. Part of the reason why I like to give hugs is because I understand the value of giving hugs. And I like to smile, too. When your mind is free, you become happy. When your family is happy, you become happy. When your children are free, you become happy, and you want to share that love. That's what I'm going to be doing here for today. Y'all ready to get started? Yeah. All right. Go ahead, clap it up. Let's go, let's go. That's right. Back in the day, we used to say, let's raise the roof. We're going to raise the roof, okay? There we go. Okay. No, you better watch it. I saw that. Okay. The topic for today is free your mind so that your children will be free. And I'd like to start by showing you all a picture here. There you go. Every night we put our children to bed, my wife and I, and we go through this routine. I usually pick my daughters up. I either get a piggyback ride, or I get on the ground on all fours, and they get on my back, and I walk them to bed. And, you know, hey, baby, good night. You're beautiful. I love you. Daddy loves you. Reinforcing them their value, okay? A lot of us didn't get that when we were growing up, right? And then, of course, my sons, we have this whole thing we go through every single night. They usually go to bed later. So, yeah, sons, it's time to go to bed. Get in the bed. Get them in the bed. Go brush your teeth. They lay down. And we always do this thing. It's from Star Trek, because I used to be a Trekkie. And we embrace each other's forearms like this, and we say, kapla. How many of y'all know what that means? Anyone? One person. Well, two. Okay, that's good. Well, it's Klingon. It's like saying, peace be unto you. So every single night when I put my sons to bed, I'm reaffirming to them, peace be unto you, my sons. I love you, right? So we go to that routine. And then the one in the middle, that's baby Jay. We just try to get him to bed, and I just give him a hug, and he's the star of the show. Okay, we call it the Baby J Show. So these are my three children. I want to show this picture because this is from 2 years ago at the Free Your Mind Conference. This is the picture that I showed. Time goes by so quickly, and these babies grow so quickly. So I like to go here. Can you believe it? And this is a picture from about 6 months ago. Okay? And then we can go here. You see why it's important to free your mind. It's not just about you, it's about these babies. Okay? That's my beautiful wife, too, right here. I want to give a shout out to my wife. Thank you. My wife is a special woman. I believe all women are special. That's right. And I'm not just saying that. I believe that. Okay, my mother raised 6 children by herself at a certain point. My father was a drug addict, a crackhead, and an alcoholic, and was abusive to my mother. I can tell you stories upon stories of the types of traumas that I experienced as a child. To this day, that still impact me on different levels. But I've worked on myself. I've healed myself. And as a consequence, I've been able to materialize this. Free your mind, right? Thank you. My wife is a special, special woman. All women are special, but my wife, because she's my wife, she's extra special. We did the first 2 babies we birthed at a birthing center. The last 3, my wife, she wanted to do home birth, and so I delivered my own 3 babies, the last 3 with my own hands at home. So if any pregnant women in the house, if you're going to labor today, don't worry about it, I got you. I'll take care of you, no problem. And again, here's the children. This is some more recent pictures of birthday. In February, we have 3 birthdays. So if you subtract 9 months from that, that means that's around the time each year my wife and I, we're the most active sexually. Real quickly here, this is my oldest son, Lenon. He's 12 years old, highly intelligent, very calm and relaxed, has an intellectual approach to things. He reminds me a lot of myself. Okay, also very meticulous in terms of his mind, how he thinks about things. Really respect him on that level. This right here, on the other side, my other son, Avi, on the right side, he is now 9. He's about to be 10. He memorizes anything. He's one of those kind of children. You tell him something, he memorizes it. He can recite it right back to you, okay? And I go on and on, but real quick, this baby right here, that's Saida. And she is just so precious. She's into nature. She is into animals, and I can see her as like what do they call that? An animal doctor. What do they call animal doctor? What's that? A veterinarian. Yes, I can see her as a veterinarian. She's just wonderful, absolute gem. My other baby daughter, that's Samaya. She's 5, and Saida's 7. Samaya's a lot taller for some reason. We don't understand why. I know my wife, she worked out when she was pregnant with Samaya, so I think that's part of what happened there. Samaya is just so precious. She's one of them children that can be just so loving, but then she can flip on you in a second, and she can just be so mean. But it's all love, right? We all got one of them people in the family, at least one, right? Okay, I love you, all love you. Next time, motherfucker, I don't want that. Okay, we know, okay. My daughter, she's like that, so part of my job as her father is to keep her in that mindset where she's real peaceful and calm and real loving. Okay, that's what I do for her. And then, of course, baby James, that's the young male down here on the bottom. He's the star of the show, okay? He's precious. My wife and I, we really enjoy him, okay? Okay, so that's my family. I wanted to share my family just because I want to give us a backdrop by which we're going to be getting into the topic today. This, again, is my lovely, lovely wife. And as you can see, baby Jay down here, he's stealing the show. Okay, he's like, look at me, I'm right here, yeah. I love my family. I absolutely love my family. I adore my wife, and my family is the most important thing to me. And then I want to say this. My wife and I, we've been together for 14 years now, and we've had a blessed relationship. Yeah, come on, clap it up, because we need to, we have got to support the positive relationship, because y'all know it's hard when you're not in one. You know it's hard, especially in one of them whole toxic relationships where you're unhappy. You don't even want to make love with the person. You know that's bad. You don't want to see them. You don't even want to smell them. So we have to support the positive relationships, because if you want to keep these babies free, it starts with this. It starts with this. My wife and I have been married for 14 years. No betrayal, we don't even argue. I ain't got time for that. Look at my wife. Why am I going to argue with a woman like that? What are we going to argue about? Just tell me what I need to fix, and I'm going to fix it. It's that simple. See, some of you men are like, I don't want to hear that. I'm the man of the house. That's what you think. You think it ain't about who's in control. It's about what you need to do to keep these babies free. And if I got to change some things, then I got to change some things. If my wife, she needs to change some things, and we talk about that respectfully. So I want us to understand 14 years of being together, no fussing and fighting, no arguing, no betrayal, no cheating, none of that stuff that we get so accustomed to in the negative relationships, and that's the foundation of the family institution. You want to keep your family free, you get this right in the first place. I talk a lot about the positive relationships these days. We're going to get into other topics too, but the main thing these days is about positive relationships. It makes a huge difference. This is us about 2 weeks ago, my wife and I, and this is us 14 years ago. This was, look, you see how my voice? This was, I'm a blessed man, look at that. And we weren't even together yet in this picture. This was when she came out in Oakland, California. She came out to hear me perform. I'm a musician. I said, come on out and hear me perform and come check me out. And she came and I performed. I was really going overboard, too. I was playing, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I said, I don't even play the guitar, but I was still on stage. You know what I'm saying? I was really showing out. And afterwards, she came up and we gave a hug, and a friend of ours said, "Let me take a picture with y'all." Yes, take a picture. And we have it to this day. It's 14 years ago. Okay? And then this is our first time we went out together. And just look at the picture. I mean, it says something. That's the first time we went out together. This was at, in Oakland, California, it was a poetry night reading. And we went out to that. It was called the Java House at the time. And I played the flute there. I played the flute. And afterwards, we were done. And this one friend of mine said, "Want me to take a picture, y'all?" Yeah, I said, "Take a picture." And we still have that picture to this day. 14 years later, you see what I'm saying? And this is the foundation. And it wasn't that I had it all together myself or that my wife had it all together, but we knew what love was about. We knew what it meant to be in a positive relationship, to start one. And we got off on the right foot. About 2 years later, the baby started coming. And in this picture, this is when our second son was born. It's about 4 years later. So this over here on the left, that's Lil Lenon with his thumb in his mouth. He's 12 years old now. And that's my wife shortly after giving birth to our second son, Avi, who is 9. He's about to be 10. And that's me in the back, and that's my wife right there. That was at the birthing center. Remember, I talked about that. Part of what I'm saying here is the foundation. You want to keep your babies free. You got to get the relationship part right. You got to start your family off the right way, and that's why I'm really big on that. One of the things that happened for me too, around this time, because I started to ask a lot of questions about the nature of reality, if you will. When you have babies and you start to really want to be responsible for them, you start to ask some critical questions about things. Like why the hell do I gotta vaccinate my children? Who the shit told me that? Why do? Okay, go ahead. Why do I got to cut off a piece of my son's penis? It's called genital mutilation, but somehow it's okay. What do they call it nowadays? It's genital mutilation. Circumcision. No, motherfucker, it's not. Let's call it for what it is. That shit's not cool. Now, I was circumcised. I'm not going to show you, but I want y'all, okay? Trust me when I say that I was circumcised. But just because I was circumcised, I had to ask the question, does that mean that my son his penis needs to be cut off? I don't even like calling it circumcision because that's not what it is. It's genital mutilation. We need to call it for what it is. And as men, we need to stand up on that. Protect your boys' penises. That's right. And then we wonder why later on in life men don't value their penises. Well, why are they going to value one of the first experiences that they have in life is to have a piece of their penis cut off. And then later on, then we get into the sexual promiscuity and dominating women with their penises. Yeah, you got all this internal psychological turmoil associated with this trauma from childhood. Janice Barcella knows what I'm talking about. And then you wonder why these boys have such a difficult time later on in life with just using their penises in a respectful way to value their penises. It becomes difficult. So part of what I'm saying is I started asking questions. Just because stuff was done to me didn't mean that my children had to. Just because I grew up in a dysfunctional household where my father beat up on my mama didn't mean I was going to beat up on my wife. So I started having these questions, and then I said, you know what? I want my vision back. Y'all see that? This was when look at everyone standing up. Wow. Look at everyone standing up. Wow. Everyone go popping up. Look like one of them games where the creature pops up and then you got to go like, whoop, whoop, okay. How many of y'all have seen this picture? Okay, so about 10%, maybe 20%. See, this was a time in my life, in and around this time period, where I really started to ask questions. I started doing a lot of research. And that's when I got into people like Freeman Fly. You know, I got into people like David Icke. I got into people like, I think the brother is here. I don't know if he's here because I haven't seen him yet. Outside the box, Alex Ansary. Okay, so we're going back a long time ago. These brothers have been doing it for a long time. I started getting their information. I started getting that knowledge. And then I started my own website, LenonHonorFilms.com, and I started producing my own documentaries. And this was the premise of it all, was this picture right here. I want my vision back. I want us to be able to see what is not in plain sight, or what is in plain sight that most people do not see. Okay, so I have all these documentaries on LenonHonorFilms.com. This is what I'm saying in terms of asking the critical questions as we move forward to ask the critical questions. Before we get into the topic, real quickly here, just to promote myself, here's all my contact information. Lenon Honor Films is my website. My more recent work is on LenonHonor.com. My name is Lenon Honor, too, by the way. I'm on Twitter. Hey, how you doing, baby? You know you get older and you have children, you start to call everyone baby. Did y'all know that? Because you start to learn how to love on deeper levels when you have these babies, so you start calling everyone baby. You calling hey, baby, how you doing? Dude, look at me, hey, man. What you calling? Don't call me no baby. No, you, okay. Twitter, Lenon Honor. YouTube, Lenon Honor Films. Facebook, Lenon Honor. And a Facebook fan page, Lenon Honor 2. Hope to see you there, okay? The topic for today, let's get into it. So I got a lot to cover, so I'm going to be moving rather quickly. That's why I want to give out all the contact information. Here we go. Let's get busy. Free your mind so that your children can be free. This is so very important. I want my children to be free. I don't want my children to get to the age of 27, 28, where then they start asking critical questions, like I did. I want them to ask those critical questions now. Who said now? Look, a whole lot of people said now. See, all y'all should get together and create a now club at the end of this conference. Because you can call it the now club, okay? We want the babies to think critically now. We want them to ask critical questions now. We want to develop their intellectual process now, not later. And for many of us, it started a lot later than it needed to. And part of it is because in general, I'm just saying in general, it may not have been your experience, but in general, our parents don't raise us appropriately. And then we get to a certain point. We start asking critical questions, and these are the questions that our parents should have already asked or answered for us. Okay? So that's why free your mind so that your children will be free. I want to show a picture. Who's that baby right there? Isn't I cute? Isn't, okay? That's me and my lovely mother. And this was probably in 1977. Okay, I look about 2 years old. Maybe almost 3. No, about 2 years old. And I want to read what I wrote there. My mind was free when I was conceived. It was only through manipulation and indoctrination that my mind became enslaved. Let's ponder that for a moment. Oh. My mind was free when I was conceived. It was only through manipulation and indoctrination that my mind became enslaved. So part of what I want to do is I want to talk about the methodology through which our minds are enslaved. There's many different ways through which this takes place. But then we're going to look at some subliminals, right, and how that program is on a subconscious level. But then we're going to offer some solutions. I always got to give solutions. One of the main reasons why so many of us start to ask questions later on in life that we should have asked earlier on in life and should have been answered, especially by our parents earlier on in life, is because of the public education system. It is a system that teaches people not to think critically, not to ask critical questions. It does not take into consideration a person's internal genius. What is your particular gift to the world? Instead, we are all given an overgeneralized perspective on what you need to know, not what you're here for, what your contribution may be. See, I know one thing, my contribution is to do what I'm doing right here, right now. Was I taught this in junior high school? Was I taught this in college? No. Part of my contribution was to raise a positive family institution, to be in a positive relationship. Was I taught that in school? I was taught a lot of the stupid shit that really makes no difference to me these days. But to strip away the intellectual faculty to where people do not think critically, question authority, and to ask the critical questions about the nature of the reality that they're in. To a great degree, that's what takes place in the public education system. In addition to that, I can go on and on and on. In addition to that, part of the things that takes place in the public education system is people are put into these compartmentalized boxes to where what they perceive to be possible in their life is very limited. And they tend not to think beyond that limitation. Well, that's called mind control. And it's one thing is if you're in a public education system and you are fulfilling your destiny, if you will, your purpose for being here on the planet, that's one thing. But most of us, when we were in the education system, that was not what we felt like we were doing. Is this not true? How many of y'all had a wonderful, wonderful, blessed experience in the public education system? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Someone's going kinda. 4, 5. Okay, let's say 5. Okay, 6. Let's say about half of y'all lying. So let's say 3. No, I'm just playing. Let's say about 6 out of how many people are in this room? About, what, 200 and something? Okay, well, that's a very low percentage. Okay? So what I'm saying is that the public education system is not designed to preserve and to enhance your internal genius. That's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to put you in a box and have you act out a pre-program and then give you information that in many cases really doesn't have anything to do with what your life purpose is. And with my children, they will deal with their life purpose. They are given the information that they need to fulfill their life purpose so that they won't have to wait until they're age 38 and then come to a conference and free their mind. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the public education system, that's one of the contributing factors when we talk about what takes place to each and every one of us, for most of us, in terms of mind control. Another great source of mind control is the news media. ABC, Fox, Reuters, CNN, BBC, etc. Mass media is so complex these days. I've done a lot of production on the programming aspect, the mind control, the subliminal messages. And one of the things I've learned in terms of mass media is that the mind control is so deep that you don't even have to give evidence or proof of anything these days. All you have to do is say, sources say, experts say, officials say. It sounds like some of the shit they used to say in high school, right? Well, the official said this. Well, well, where's the proof? It doesn't matter. It's in the book. The official says that. You see, the programming filters over into later on in life. Really, the mainstream news is like an extension of high school. It really is. So to understand that, in most cases, we don't even have to be given evidence or proof of anything. You just believe what you're told. September 11, 2001, most people believe what they're told. They don't ask any critical questions. No critical questions whatsoever. The official version, that's what they said. That's what the officials say. The experts say. That's what the government says. I accept it as truth without any evidence or proof to back it up. See, that's how we're raised that way. And we have to do something different. That's mind control. If we want to keep these babies' minds free, you got to do something different. As an excellent example of this, the supposed death of Osama bin Laden. Now, I preface that by saying what? The supposed. Because there's no evidence or proof that any of that took place. Look how I'm standing. There's no evidence or proof of that. Y'all do realize there's absolutely no evidence or proof, and yet people believe it to be true. That's like Santa Claus. Okay, you can believe in this shit, but if there's no evidence and proof of it, what does it say? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Some of y'all in the audience, you may believe in the SEAL Team 6 and all that, but you have no evidence and proof to back it up. That's no different than the tooth fairy or the boogeyman who's living in the closet. And all this conspiracy, conspiracy about the terrorist programming and Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that's just boogeyman in the closet. And we're given that fed that to keep us in a state of fear. Fear compromises the intellectual process. The greatest means of control is not actualized through military might or physical subjugation or brute force. The greatest means of control is actualized through the manipulation of the psychological condition of the human species, and that's precisely what's taking place. So as a case study, real quickly here, here's your evidence and proof, ladies and gentlemen, of Osama bin Laden being assassinated. What was it, about 4 years ago now? We're coming up on the anniversary. That's why you got a lot of this programming in the news right now. And I'm going to get into that in just a moment. Here's your evidence. I'm going to act like I'm CNN. Here's the compound where Osama bin Laden had been staying. As you can see, it's very meticulous in how it's designed, the high walls. Also, there's a two-story, there's a satellite dish there. You can see it clearly in this. What the hell is this? See, that's the question I want my children to ask. What the hell is this? Daddy, what is this shit? I don't. But we got grown-ass adults who don't even ask that. Some of y'all in here, grown-ass adults, don't even ask that. That's a problem. Free your mind so that your children can be free. Here's the helicopter. There were 2 of them initially. Officials say. See, it's funny now, but you know, this was actually on the news. And here's this SEAL Team 6 goes in. Look at them fighting. Osama bin Laden, look, he's in all this violence, and Osama bin Laden knows Osama bin Laden, terror, terrorist, terror. This shit looks like a video game. A bad one from like 1985. It's like the Nintendo NES, the original Nintendo. They used to call me Nintendo. I know what that is. Look at this. And what does it say up there in the top corner? Say it out loud, please. Since when does virtual view count for an accurate representation of reality? Since when? See, that's a critical question. And see, look, ABC put this out there and is reporting on this and reporting on it as if it's a fact, as if this is the evidence of proof. And these days, this counts as evidence of proof. See, that's a lack of intellectual process and asking critical questions. You couldn't get away with this, let's say 40 years ago. Walter Cronkite, you couldn't do this shit. But you can do it nowadays because people are so mind-controlled, they won't even ask questions like, what the hell am I seeing here? And here's that gun battle right here. They battled for 20 minutes. Was it 20 or 40? Something ridiculous. 20, 40 minutes. They battled in error fight. Who the hell are they fighting? Where's the evidence and proof of this? Here's the evidence and proof right here. Look at this. These are computer-generated images, by the way. This is what the news media was reporting on. And here's when they go in SEAL Team 6 and they kill bin Laden's son, Khalid. You see that? You see how they killed him? I think this right here is his son. It looks just like him, right? See how ridiculous it is? And then they finally get into the top level of his lair. You got to have a lair, because he's a badass. The supervillains always have to have a lair. You know what I'm saying? All of them do. They do. They got to have a lair because they're just these badasses. But this badass, he's so badass, he uses his wife as a human shield. He has a weapon in the room, but he doesn't use it. They already been fighting for 20 minutes down below, but he doesn't do shit, even though he's the greatest terrorist of all freaking time. You see how ridiculous it is? The story is ridiculous, and the evidence and proof that they give is absolutely comical. Look at this, and people all over the world bought into this shit and believed it to be true. That's mind control. And up in the corner it says, virtual view. This is ABC News. So as you can see, SEAL Team 6 and Osama bin Laden, he throws his wife in the way. She gets shot in the leg somehow, and he gets shot in the eyes. And there you have it. He's done. Look at that. This is the evidence and proof, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the evidence and proof. Whenever people say, because we're coming up on the anniversary, when they say, yeah, because it's going to happen. We're getting on the anniversary. And people are going to be talking about, they have retrospectives on the news over, it's cyclical programming. And then you can ask those people, what evidence and proof do you have? And they won't be able to give you any whatsoever. So lack of intellectual process and critical thinking. And of course, he had a gaping gunshot wound in his forehead, as you can see. And then they took his body. One of the helicopters blew up, as you can see right here. And this is the night vision. You know that's crazy. It makes it more dramatic, right? Look at this, you know. And then when they're doing this video, then they put these videos, clips of these SEALs fighting when they're showing this. But it's not the SEAL Team 6. This is just stock footage that they put in there, you see. So this is the evidence and proof that people are given. And then they got him on the aircraft carrier, and they dumped his ass off into the sea. Now that's some script writing for you right there, isn't it? It's fascinating. I mean, it's funny, but people believe this. They literally believe this. Again, no evidence and proof. You didn't see any. I didn't see any. My children didn't see any. But of course, Barack Obama saw some. That's the evidence and proof that he's looking at a screen. Look at Hillary Clinton too. Oh my God. Well, what the hell are y'all looking at? Show me what you're looking at. Don't tell me what you're working with. Show me what you're working with. No, don't tell me what you're seeing. Show me what you're seeing. See the difference? Tell me versus show me. See, public education system, tell me. Adequate intellectual process, show me. Evidence and proof, conclusive, that will stand up in the court of law. You got people who are scientists who buy into this shit. And they will say, look, I have to have evidence and proof in the lab, and we have to be able to duplicate it. Yes, okay, intellectual process, but you give them some of this, and they buy into it right away. That's mind control. So I don't know what they're looking at right here. And Barack Obama, I don't know what you're looking at right here, but I do know what you're looking at right here. Now, I can put this on the news and say, Barack Obama likes some booty. And I can show this picture, and there's evidence and proof, right? Do y'all see my point? He do too. That's some guy from France. He liked the booty too. Okay, I'm not gonna blame a brother for that. I'm just saying. But you get my point. I know it's comical, but there's a point to this, and that is that we can see something like this, and there's evidence and proof. But then something like the supposed death of Osama bin Laden, we don't give any evidence and proof. We believe it true. We believe it to be true. There's a problem with that. You see my point? Brother couldn't help himself. Okay. This brings me to another event. And we're on the 5-year anniversary of this. This is the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. I know, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of y'all believe this to be the greatest ecological catastrophe of our time, but let me tell you something. You did not have any conclusive evidence or proof that proves that without a shadow of a doubt this is the greatest ecological catastrophe of our time. What would be the preeminent proof that we would need, or evidence that we would need, to prove that this was the greatest ecological catastrophe of our time? What would be the proof that we would need to see? Oil. Oil. Why did the screen go black? Can someone, this is oil. There's the oil right there. You see it? It says, my computer restarted because of a problem, so I'm going to need someone to come solve this problem, if you don't mind. We got a tech person up here. Thank you. Yeah, come on up. Come on up. I'm not going to bite. Let me go ahead and grab the microphone so I can rock it. So I was talking about the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, and this was an example of not having adequate intellectual process and asking critical questions, because you would have to see conclusive evidence of proof, which would mean a lot of oil washing up on shore. What's that? Oh, okay. We did not see massive amounts of oil washing up on shore. Now, we did see grainy video footage of an oil well that had oil coming up, but in terms of it being the greatest ecological catastrophe of our time, we would have to see massive amounts of oil all along the Gulf Coast washing up on shore. Did we see that? What's that? We saw birds, but did we see massive amounts of oil? You know how big the Gulf, anyone down from the Gulf here? It is a massive region. not only we would have to see massive amounts of oil washing up on shore in the Gulf, but then also all the tributaries, right? But we didn't see that. Well, we can say that, yeah, they said they cleaned it all up. They also said microorganisms ate all the oil. Did y'all hear that one? This is on the news. They also said that the oil went underground because oil goes underground, right? It came from, and they also said it went down into the depths of the ocean because, oil does sink to the bottom, right? So and then there was also Corexit was being used, which may be true. But then out of this Corexit conspiracy, then they were saying because of the Corexit was going to be used and mass amounts of people were going to die in the Gulf region. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Well, here we are 5 years later. Did hundreds of millions of people die in the Gulf region? No, but many of us believed it to be true because of media programming. You see my point? So what I'm saying is to ask the critical question, I need evidence of proof. Now, you can give me any given claim, and the first thing I'm going to say is, where is the evidence and proof? You can give me any conspiracy theory, and the first thing that I'm going to ask you for is evidence of proof. Yes, sir?
They gave us more of that virtual view.
Yes, they gave you virtual view for the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. I have a documentary, Media Mind Control and the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Y'all check it out. Because I even give you examples of pictures that they showed as being evidence of proof that were doctored. Okay? So what I'm saying is, in terms of us having intellectual process and asking critical questions, y'all can give me any someone give me a conspiracy theory. Just throw one out to me real quickly here. JFK. Did someone shoot JFK? Yes. There's evidence of proof. He's dead. And we see video footage, right? You see, back then, you couldn't get away with. Now, can you imagine? Today, he's in office and he gets assassinated. They give you virtual view? Well, people would accept that these days. Give me another one. What's that? Moon landing. I don't know for sure. Sandy Hook. I don't know for sure. Pearl Harbor. There was some shit that got blown up. I know that for sure. Okay. We don't know who did it exactly, right? It could be, it could be, who knows who could it be? But what's that? Say it again. The airplane. That's part, yes. You talking about the airplane? The ship. Oh, okay, you're talking about, what was the other ship? Titanic, yes. Okay, so what I'm saying is ask a critical question, ask evidence and proof. The problem is that some of these stories are true, but you got to have evidence and proof. In the absence of evidence and proof, you shouldn't accept something as being true. You see my point? Again, the public education system, it takes us out of that. Now, most children, they ask questions, right? And that's the main thing they ask is why. Well, there's a reason why they ask why. Because they want evidence and proof, right? Well, we should have the same intellectual process as adults. Does that make sense? What's up with the thing, y'all? Come on now. Is this ready to go? I came all the way. Let me complain a little bit. Y'all going to have to give me some more time. I'm going to have these people in here writing to get me. So can I get some more time if necessary? Y'all give it up. As he does this, my good brother over here, it was not easy for me to get out of here. I got 5 babies, so getting away from them is difficult. But on the way down, I didn't get any rest. Okay, I stayed up the whole day because I had to get my lecture together. I had to pack. I had to get all the groceries into the house before I left. I wanted the babies to have you taken care of. Then I drive down to San Diego. I left about 3:30 a.m. I get down, and when I get down to San Diego, my car starts to break down on me. Oh, he's a pity party. I know. Hey, yeah. Love me, give it to me. Okay. But I managed to make it to my brother's house. It cut off on me about 5 times. I get to my brother's house. He drives me to the airport, which wasn't too far away. And when I get on the plane, I'm just thankful that I got to the plane. And I'm thankful. And the other thing is I'm fueled because I'm saying there's nothing going to stop me from getting here and doing my thing when I come up here before you all. You see my point? So it was not easy getting here, but I got here. And part of the reason why, I just want y'all to understand, this is part of my life purpose. That's why I do so good when I do this. Y'all feel good, right? You're like, look at this guy. He really, this is part of my life purpose. But, you go back 4 years ago, and I couldn't do this. I wasn't good at talking with people. I didn't even smile all that much. Growing up, I most definitely didn't smile all that much. But that's part of the process. Okay, that's part of the growth process. So I'm here, even with the technical difficulties, and I'm thankful. You need me to open it up for you?
I don't know where he put these down.
Okay, where are the folders at for the Free Your Minds? Did we need to reinstall it? Okay. Okay, y'all just give us a moment here. Let me give another example. Chemtrails. Is there evidence of that? You what? You see them. You see the difference? Did you see Osama bin Laden being assassinated? No. Okay? Did they need they need to drive? This is Mark's secret, Mark Pascal's secret computer that has many different passcodes. Yes.
In fact, on the chemtrails, in Seattle, we see trails going places that we know planes don't go.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Matter of fact, where I lived at before I moved to where I live at now, there was a lot of chemtrail activity. And one of the reasons why we ended up, one of the inspirations for me moving was because I didn't want my children around that. You see what I'm saying? So there's evidence of proof. So we can bring up any given theoretical conspiracy. I'm not going to say conspiracy theory, theoretical conspiracy, but we have to demand evidence of proof. Whether that's the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, whether that Corexit being used as a tool of mass extinction, whatever the case may be, or chemtrails, you got to ask the critical questions and ask, is there any evidence of proof? It's under, Lenon is the most handsomest man on the planet. Okay, that one right here, the top one. Yeah, we're just about ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. It is launching, and there we go. You see that? They're going to put it in the full screen, and we're going to go. You hear all my talking? Is that okay? Yeah, I can do that. Can you just set it? Yeah. Okay, that's good. We're good. Yeah, I got it. We're good. Let's get going here. Now, is there a way to set it to where they don't see the slides on the side? Yeah, it'll be full screen. And thank y'all for your patience, too, okay? Now, I appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead, give it up for yourself. That's right. Okay. Is this thing plugged in? Make sure this is plugged in. It's getting power. Okay, it's good now. I think it's good. No, it's not. Here we go. Is that it? All right. Thanks, bro. I'm gonna keep the mic on because I like to hold the mic. Ain't nothing like having a mic in my hand. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So yes, there was some explosion on the oil. Okay, we see that. That's the evidence of proof right there. But was this the greatest ecological catastrophe of our time? I'm not quite sure that is the case. Okay. We're gonna move forward here. Well, see now. Okay. Well, let me see here. Okay. Now I can't go to the next thing here. Y'all, come on now, tech people. You might want to just put it in the others. Okay, there we go. There we go. Is it good?
That work for you?
Oh, okay.
Just click.
Okay, I got to click now. Okay, here we go. Let's go. So here's my documentary, Media Mind Control, the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. I encourage all y'all to check that out. Okay. Oftentimes what happens is that when these events take place, we're so caught up in the emotional part of it, compromise our intellectual processes, we don't ask critical questions. Later on, you can come back to it with clarity of thought, clarity of mind, and you can review the information, and then you can ascertain whether or not it was true. Based upon what? Evidence and proof. Okay, so check that documentary out when you have some time. When we talk about media mind control manipulation, this is one of the things that takes place. I call this subliminal association. So this was shortly after the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, and then you start to get this propaganda out there. What if it happened here? What happened here, by the way? The oil spill. And so where is this at? There's this monument over here. So where's this? Washington. Okay, you're scared about this, and here's that bird. I'm so tired of seeing that bird. That bird is so famous. That's the oily bird, okay? Now, I love animals. I'm vegan. Okay, I'm vegan. I don't eat animals. I don't like stepping on them, okay? But damn, don't use the bird as propaganda. So when people start asking, what if it's going to happen to my birds and my dogs and my cats? A lot of people worrying about this bird. After that, they're going to get some fried chicken. You know that's crazy. It's true. Is that not true? Okay. This is subliminal association. What if it happened here? The BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Where is this at, ladies and gentlemen? That's San Francisco. That looks like Alcatraz, right? I used to, it might even happen inside the actual prison. An oil spill. I used to live over here, too, by the way. That's where I met my wife. So I have a lot of fond memories that reaches beyond this type of propaganda. Look at that. Oh, but ladies and gentlemen, what if it happened here? Where's this? So you see all the oil, your Statue of Liberty, you see all the oil? But what is this over here? What's that? You see that? That's one of the World Trade Centers. And right next to it, you see this massive explosion. Y'all got to be kidding me. Y'all come on now. It's going to boot in 0 seconds. It's restarting. Okay, someone had asked, where was that picture from? That picture, these were posters that was posted. Someone had sent me this. It was posted on the subway stations. You know, they have the ads or the ad placements. So you can go in and these posters, they were posted there. And they were in other places too. But you see that this is what I call subliminal association. You're associating the BP Horsemen that go from Mexico with what? September 11th, 9/11. You see what I'm saying? That's called subliminal association. This is one of the tactics that is used by mass media all the time. So what happens is that if you associate one event with another, now both events are emboldened with terror, with fear. You see how that works? Okay, that's mind control. Okay, they're getting this back up. What was that? What about it? What's that? My take is that something exploded. I don't know if it was Al-Qaeda or ISIS. No, I know that it wasn't Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Okay? That's what I will say. All right? Now, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that. Okay, I understand that too. But again, evidence and proof. I can only go based upon what I actually saw, the evidence proof that I saw. You also see evidence, supposed evidence, that was doctored too as well. That's why you have to ask the critical questions. Y'all getting it up? Okay, here we go again. Mark Passio, this is what is this, a Mac? This must be a Mac. No, I'm just playing with y'all. Okay. Oh, it's a Windows program on a Mac. That's probably what, okay. Now, y'all gonna edit this right when y'all get the thing up for the whatchamacallit. Okay, so I can talk some shit. That's okay. No, I'm just playing. Then it comes to the free old mind. You're talking all this shit about the computer don't work. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got this. So let's hurry up before it gets out again. Okay, but you see how this works? You know, this looks like, if you look in the background here, it's subliminal though, because most of y'all didn't see that. That's one of the twin towers, and then right here you got this other, where the other column would be, the other tower, you got this explosion and billowing smoke. Okay, that's September 11th. That is no different than seeing something like this on a subliminal level. You see how this works? Okay, this is the mind control, media manipulation. I'm bringing up September 11th because I also produced a book, and I want to encourage all y'all to get this one, the 911 Fear-Based Mind Control Program, one of my most important works. This deals with the psychological aspects of September 11th, what took place in terms of the traumatization of the global population, and how that particular trauma is triggered every single year at particular times during the year, which gets us to this. This is what I call mass media cyclical timeline programming. Mass media issues these types of stories every single year within the 4 weeks leading up to May 2nd, the anniversary of the assassination of Osama bin Laden. You get stories in the news about Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda, now you can throw in ISIS, because that's the new boogeyman badass, right? It's a bunch of bullshit, but people accept it as being true. Okay, ISIS. Stories about SEAL Team 6 and terror threats, which includes bomb threats. What was on the news yesterday? Bomb threat foiled, it's always foiled, nothing ever happens, but you just report on it to keep people in a state of fear. Imminent threats, cyber terrorism, Arab Spring. That's some serious propaganda. Arab Spring, this means the terrorists, who supposedly are all Arab, they have a season now. You know, that's some messed up shit right there when you do, because I'm quote unquote part African American. And we got the same type of propaganda back in the 90s about African American males. So I can relate to this shit. This is broke down, Arab Spring and plane problems. Oh. Now I did a whole lecture on this 2 years ago, so I'm not going to get all deep into it, but understand that in this 4-week period leading up to May 2nd of every single year, you get these stories that start to come into the news in mass. Now, they do happen at other times during the year, but you start to you get a heavy concentration leading up to May 2nd. These stories trigger the trauma of September 11th because they're associated with the death of Osama bin Laden, and we make a subliminal association between Osama bin Laden and September 11, 2001, even though there ain't no evidence of proof that he was a mastermind of September 11, 2001. None. Within the 4 weeks leading up to May 2nd, we find a steady buildup of Osama bin Laden-related stories in the news, and here's the topics right here. Also, within the 6 weeks leading up to September 11th, you start to get stories in the news again. This is the second cycle. Again, mass media cyclical programming timeline. Stories about terror threats, cyber threats, bomb threats, Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, TSA plane problems, national security issues, Pastor Terry Jones. All these are interchangeable, okay? Credible but unconfirmed threats. What does that mean? I want y'all to think about that. Because my children will ask that question, a credible but unconfirmed threat? How can something be credible and unconfirmed at the same time? See, that's intellectual process, right? We should ask those questions. But see, again, public education system, our parents don't raise us properly. We don't ask basic questions. If someone says that something is credible, and then they say it's unconfirmed, I'm going to say, what are you talking? What does that mean? It makes no sense to me. Why? What? Who? What? Where? Why? When? How? Okay? Okay, so again, we're in this cycle right here. That's why you're getting more stories about terror threats. It's going to build up until we get into May 2nd. Then it'll slowly fade out, and then it'll pick all back up again within the 6 weeks leading up to September 11th. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, on April 8th, Pastor Terry Jones is back in the news. Why? Why is he back in the news? Well, it is because we are now in this cycle right here. See, because remember, this is the Quran burning guy. Now it's in the midst of Arab Spring and all the terror threats. You bring him on. He's an agent provocateur. This is mass media programming. He comes onto the scene, excuse me, and he announces that he's going to be running for president. Okay, well, good luck with that. Just take some pictures with you looking at some booty, you'll be just fine, okay? This is part of mass media cyclical timeline programming, and then there's also other stories that come up in the news that are regurgitated around the anniversary to trigger the trauma of those events. One of the main traumas was September 11, 2001. That's why you always get stories in the news to trigger that particular trauma and the 6 weeks leading up to September 11th. Here are some of the other ones. I don't have time to get into all of these, but there's plenty. All this is inside of my book, okay, the 911 Fear-Based Mind Control Program. I'm going to have to move quickly here. Television shows is another way in which we are programmed, in which our minds are enslaved, if you will. And I'm going to do this quickly. Does anyone know what this show is? Uh-oh. See, that's Young and the Restless. That's Young and the Restless. It's a soap opera show that's been on for a long time. I'm going to tell on myself, ladies and gentlemen. I used to watch Young and the Restless. What was that? I was 35. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I wasn't no 35. I was 16 and 17. And I was in a horrible relationship, too. Oh, my goodness. Can I tell on myself real quickly here? I was 17, and I was in a relationship with a young lady, and I was basically living at her house, her apartment with her mama. And we were having sex a lot. And a lot of, all unprotected sex. Because I didn't know, that was the first time having sexual intercourse. I didn't know. She said, oh, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just pull out. And me and my stupid ass, oh, okay, yeah, let's go on. Okay. Thoroughly irresponsible at the age of 17. But I didn't have a positive role model in my life, a father to teach me and guide me. My mother never had a conversation with me. The only conversation I had with my mama was she broke out a condom that was inside this keychain, and it was a plastic keychain that had a condom in it, and it said, break in case of an emergency. You think I used that? No, I didn't use that. I was having unprotected sex with this and living in her house. I mean, I used to watch Sports Center, have sex, and eat cookies afterwards. And it's funny, but it's not so funny because that proves that as a man at the age of 17, I was nowhere where I needed to be. See, again, I didn't have a positive role model. My father was an alcoholic, drug addict, on crack. He used to abuse my mother, even abuse us as children. I remember once he even threatened to kill me one time, and I took that very seriously. I was 13 years old. So I've been through a lot. So getting up to that point, part of what I'm saying is this show is reflective of the mentality that I had at that time. That's why I watched it. And my girlfriend, she watched it, and her mama watched it too. They used to record it. Hope I ain't saying too much if you happen to see this someday on YouTube. They used to record it and watch it on reruns. And it was all about dysfunctional male-female relationships, family institutions breaking down, promiscuous sex, just crazy, crazy madness. And this is the programming that I was investing myself into. And my relationship reflected the programming. And this is going back to what, for me, 1993-ish. Okay, 1992, 1993. I was 16, 17 years old. But they got programming for y'all more recently, too, now. Here's a show, Sex in the City. Never talked. How many of y'all seen this show? Raise your hand. Some of y'all like, I don't want to raise. Damn, all y'all. No, some of y'all like, I don't want to raise my hand. Some of y'all lying. I know that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. See, when you come into a level of mental sovereignty, you have to be willing to admit and testify. No, admit. Okay, because I can admit it, and I share openly because I don't want young brothers going through the same thing that I went through. I mean, living the life that I was living, it was just so foul. And my sons, they will definitely not be living at their girlfriend's house at the age of 16, having unprotected sex, eating cookies, and watching ESPN. It's not going to happen, Captain. Did I say Captain or Captain? Okay, Captain? Okay. So there's programming, too, nowadays that's not about positive relationships. It's not about healthy family institutions. It's not about raising children. It's not about freeing your mind. Okay, it just becomes a program. A lot of it has to do with the destabilization of the family unit. Here's another one, Basketball Wives of L.A. How many of y'all have seen that show? Okay, good. Just about 3? Good. Okay. I watched the episode just for research purposes, okay? Just for research. And I watched the episode, my wife watched it, and we could not believe what we were watching there, okay? Inappropriate sexual activity, just the language, the projection of women, just, dysfunctional, immaturity, sexism, all that, all wrapped up in it. We got to be careful about that. In particular, we got to protect our children's minds from that. Here's another one, Desperate Housewives. How many of y'all have watched that? Okay, I've never seen this show, but I've seen, okay, I'm not going to lie, I've seen an episode, okay? An episode or two, okay? For research purposes. Another show, okay? Again, it's not about the family unit. It's not about stabilized family units where you're raising your children properly, so forth and so on, healthy family institutions, healthy relationships between men and women. That's a problem because most of us struggle with that, right? Most of us, has anyone not struggled in male-female relationships here? Okay, the liar, go ahead and raise your hand. No, I'm just playing. Okay. No. We've all struggled in male-female, and there's a reason why. See, my children see an example every single day of a positive male-female relationship, and they're living that. My wife and I were living that, as opposed to them seeing this shit. We don't even have a TV in our home. Thank you. And you will be amazed at how many people, when we told them we didn't have a TV in our home, that's child abuse. No, they told me that shit. Lenon, that's child abuse. Can you believe that? So if I let them watch this shit, then I'm being a good parent. But if I don't have a TV in the home and not let them watch, now I'm child. No, I don't. No. See, that's a difference in mentality. Again, freeing your mind. And it goes back a long way, too, ladies and gentlemen. How many of y'all remember this show? Raise your hand. See, now all the hands go up. This show did so much damage, psychological damage, to the global population, in point of fact, as it relates to healthy family institutions, male-female relationships. It also perpetuated a lot of the sexism, in particular about young girls, because they used to do this girl and how they used to portray her, and she's all no intelligence. That shit is inappropriate. And I'm older now, so I can say it, because I have daughters myself. That shit is inappropriate. The model that we present to the world, it doesn't matter what the woman looks like, the color of her skin. It don't make me no difference. That's a baby girl to me. This messed up a lot of people, this show right here. It's not just television shows. It's also cartoons. Let's just do 2 or 3 of them real quick here. Family Guy. How many have seen this one? It's amazing how this is a cartoon these days. I mean, I used to watch Tom and Jerry, okay, what else? I used to watch G.I. Joe. Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Na, 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 na. All right? But this right here is it's a whole other dynamic. It again, programming to destabilize the family unit, give representations of manhood and masculinity that are totally inappropriate, and all kind. There's also a lot of sexual programming in here too. A lot of it is subliminal. Here's another one, South Park. How this passes as a cartoon is beyond me. And of course, it's been going on for a long time, and a lot of it goes back to this. All right? Bob, how much time I have too, by the way, brother? 10, oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna go to the speed round here. It's also in the music and the movies that we listen to. Movies that we watch, music that we listen to. Do I need to even say anything? Do y'all think that my daughters are watching this? They don't even know who Miley Cyrus is or Beyonce. They know who their mother is. Thank you. Who is this, by the way? So everyone like, I don't know. Good. That's Lady Gaga. And I don't know what she got on, but people can, well, you can wear what you want to. But don't present this to the babies. You see what I'm saying? But this guy down here, he has his arm going up over her crotch, and he has a bow and arrow, and she's pulling the string to the bow and arrow like, I'm going to pluck it down here. Okay, that's a problem. My daughters don't know this stuff, and they will not know this stuff. Who was that? Katy Perry. This is a lot of the Playboy bunny programming that a lot of young girls are getting these days. Okay, and often she's presented as, you know, this I don't know, healthy representation of womanhood and all this. No. This is inappropriate. My daughters would not be seeing this. This is another one. Who's that? Anyone know? Some of y'all don't know. Is any black people in the house here? No. What's that? He said, Nicki Minaj. Yeah, okay, yeah. Nicki Minaj. That's Nicki Minaj. Look what she got on. Okay, now if you want to do something, then you look at brother standing up. Oh, yeah, let me check it out. Now, if you want to dress like that in your own time, spare time, privately with your husband, you're in a committed relationship, then do what you're going to do, okay? But this should not be a representation of what it means to be a woman and having young girls aspiring towards this. And, of course, I've done a lot of work on the media manipulation associated with Rihanna with my documentary, The Workings of Evil, and this is Rihanna with Shakira, I believe. This is the programming that's out there, too, as well. My daughters would not be subject to this programming. I had a whole lot more to say about this, but I'm going to move it, okay? This is a picture of me. Anyone want to take a guess of how old I was at this time? 19, 18, 16, 15, 14, 12, 10, 9. I was 17 years old here. So this is around the time where I was having unprotected sex, eating chocolate chip cookies, and watching ESPN. Look at me. It makes sense. I mean, can't you see it? It's in my face. It's in how I'm standing. It's in how I'm dressing. See? Not free. Not sovereign of mind. Stuck within the matrix of programming that got me to this point. Got the hoop earrings in my ear, got a little flat top, and got me a little gold streak on the side. Y'all see it? Y'all can't see it all. I got a little gold streak right there. I was all that. That's right. I was fly, as we used to say back in the day. But during that time, there was a lot of programming out there like 2 Live Crew. And I used to listen to that shit. What was that they used to say? She ain't nothing but a hoochie mama. Who had hoochie mama? Y'all remember that? So, see, brother right here, we right here. I know you all know, okay, cool, right on. A lot of y'all missed this program because a lot of this was race-based programming. So good for y'all. Y'all missed it. Yeah, I know you didn't, okay? That's right. See, so a lot of the demonization of people from Muslim-speaking countries and Arabs and all that stuff, that's no different than the program that we got when I was growing up in terms of the projection of black women in particular ways and the projection of African-American men in a particular way. It's no different to me. Okay, that's why I can definitely relate. I used to also listen to a lot of the Snoop Dogg stuff. Okay, again, it's a portrayal of the man as a dog and the woman as his bitch. See, my sons and daughters are not getting that programming. A lot of that programming in hip-hop is directly sourced from the black exploitation films that preceded it. That's why the language is the same, bitches and hoes and all this stuff. My son, I've never called my son a nigger. You know, I had a friend of mine want to argue with me, a friend of mine from college, supposed to be educated, want to argue with me as to whether or not it's appropriate to call your son a nigger. I was like, man, you can call me that. I won't take offense because we grew up like that. A lot of y'all don't know about that, but man, fuck you and all. Yeah, okay, that's back in the day. But you call my children that, I'm going to ask you a critical question about that. And I'm going to ask you to stop politely. You do it a second time, I'm going to ask you with a little bit more forward. You do it a third time, I'm beating your ass. And that programming, it goes back to early hip-hop, Big Daddy Kane. 2 minutes, my goodness. I used to also listen to a lot of Ice Cube. A lot of that program was about violence, death in the streets, and all this stuff. I used to listen to Dr. Dre, The Chronic, and Machiavelli. That was Tupac, okay. A lot of that program was based upon violence, gang violence, so forth and so on. And I got a lot of that program. A lot of my friends died in the streets as a consequence of receiving that programming. And it goes all the way back to the beginning. Criminal Mind, y'all can look at KRS-One. Thankfully, KRS evolved over time, but a lot of artists do not. Eazy-E, Niggas with Attitudes, his program. I was going to read to y'all some of the lyrics, but I'm just going to leave it at that for time's sake. A lot of stuff ends up being in movies, okay? Niggas with Attitudes, Eazy-E, they had it Boys in the Hood, then it comes out as a movie as Boys in the Hood. They also had programming for a lot of the women that also was about criminality. Again, you got to keep your children sovereign, their mind sovereign of this stuff. Other movies, New Jack City. That's right. We all we got, right? That's right. And that's what I was watching. That's why I looked like this back then, okay? Another one of the movies was Menace to Society. That really did some serious psychological damage. And you know what's amazing is that the programming, NWA, Straight Outta Compton in particular, I used to listen to that album a lot. A lot of it was disrespect of women, calling women bitches and hoes, and niggas ain't shit, and all this kind of stuff, and I'm gonna blast you and kill you, all this stuff. A lot of that programming is now being reintroduced in the form of a movie. And so you got the regurgitation of the programming, and there are a lot of people that are going to venerate this programming this time around. I will not be venerating it. I will not be celebrating it. My sons will not be seeing it because my sons deserve something more than that. Now, I was going to do subliminal messages, but I do not have the time. Okay, let me just go ahead and scroll through them real quickly. I was going to go through all of this, but we don't have the time. I know, I'm sorry, but Bob Tuskin is coming up here shortly. I wanted to just show here, part of the programming is that it goes back to the early days. Here's Coca-Cola. It cures headaches and relieves exhaustion. You have this woman in this red negligee. For that time period, that red negligee meant what? Sex. And you know how women always say, I got a headache and I'm tired. Y'all know that one, right? I say it to my wife all the time. No, I'm just playing, okay? But this programming, this manipulation, it goes back to 1886. Think about that. And of course here, if her legs aren't being open for you, you get her this and you get her a diamond and she'll open them right up. Sexist programming. My daughters are not receiving this and my sons are not receiving it. And for you women, if your man looks like this and he gives you a diamond ring, then all of a sudden he looks like that. And of course, real men wear gowns. Okay, I took this picture myself in San Diego. You got to also protect them from the toys. A lot of the toys out there are inappropriate. Also in the video game, this is me back in the day playing video games. I was at my uncle's house. I was about 12 years old. Okay, they used to call me Lenintendo. A lot of the programming then for the advertisements were completely sexualized. Okay, so we're talking about sexism against women. This is also fortifying in young males their minds in terms of how they see women. So you can't have a positive relationship if you see women like this. You men out there, if you're watching the porn and you're masturbating, you're not going to be able to establish a positive relationship in a healthy family institution. I'm telling you the truth. You got to get over that shit, and you got to get over it quickly. Okay? Thank you. And of course, size does matter. See how this works? This is very disturbing. This is for a Nintendo game system, a handheld one, but you see the woman, she's bonded, but if you look at her and how her legs are crossed, she does not want to be penetrated, if you will. You see that? See how her legs are like this? That means she doesn't want any kind of sexual activity. So this is a reference to a rape about to take place. This is the programming that we were receiving back then, even with video games. Here's another one. Take advantage. You see the headline? Take advantage but take advantage of what? See, don't let Barack Obama see this one, okay? Because he likes the booty, okay. I know I'm up against the clock here. I'm almost done here. Real quick, this was another ad, 40 days and 40 nights, and the premise of the movie was that this guy was going to go through this great challenge, and his challenge was that he was not going to have sexual intercourse for a month, 40 days. And you see how, he's laying down here, and you got this thing coming up like this. That's like his penis. You see, y'all see, how many of y'all saw that? Look at everyone standing up. I want to see that penis. No, okay, y'all see it? One man is about to do the unthinkable, no sex whatsoever for 40 days and 40 nights. As if that is somehow miraculous. You men, you got to develop sexual discipline. You got to be in control of your penis. And you need to do it in advance of getting into a relationship. Because when your woman is on the menstrual cycle, she doesn't want to have sexual intercourse. Or when she doesn't want to have sexual intercourse, you should have the balls to have enough strength to say, I'm not going to force the issue. But you have to have sexual discipline. And inside my book, the most recent book, Pregnancy Support, I'm almost done, Bob. Pregnancy Support, I talk about what a man must know and what a woman should expect. Women, you got to raise a higher standard when it comes to pregnancy. You can't expect to have your children free if you're in dysfunctional relationships. Men, if you're not in control of your penis, you can't expect to have your children free. You're not even in control of yourself. Women have to raise a standard in terms of the types of support that she is to receive during pregnancy and postpartum, by the way. I get into all of that. I used to beg my wife for sex. This is one of the things that I'm so disappointed in myself when I look at my life. One of the main things is that when my wife, during her first 2 pregnancies, when she was pregnant, she did not, physiologically, she was not interested. Hormonally, she was not interested. Emotionally, she was not interested in having sexual intercourse, but I used to beg, and many times she would go ahead and concede. I'm not proud about that. But the last 3 pregnancies, I worked on myself. I developed sexual discipline. And the notion of going without sex for 40 days, that's not a big deal, because there was a time we had to go for a whole year without sexual intercourse. And I'm fine. Even these days, we don't have sexual intercourse all that much. You see how beautiful my wife is. She's fine. Trust me. Look, I want to, okay? But I'm not going to press the issue. I have sexual discipline. We have to develop that. This book talks a lot about my journey and the things that I need to know, the things that I've learned that I wish I had known during the first pregnancy with the first boy and during the second pregnancy, okay? That can also be found on www.lenon.com/books, okay? But I have these outside as well, okay? I was also going to talk about the beer advertisement. I don't have time, so I'm going to go ahead and skip through this. What was that? No, I don't have time. Bob is coming up here. Just go ahead and look at the images real quickly. Again, this speaks to the sexism part, okay, and the portrayal of women as sex objects. It's difficult for a man, if you have sexist ideas about women, to establish a positive relationship with a woman. It's very difficult to be an honorable man and function as an accurate representation of what it means to be a man to your son if you buy into this programming. Okay, and it goes back a long ways, a very long ways. And children get it too. Y'all remember E.T.? Children get it too. But don't worry, because if you drink beer, it'll save the planet. 1 beer at a time. I also want to talk about this. I don't have time. Real quick, the premise of this is that if you drink this beer and you create the bra, you would have created the bra this way that has an eject button. So as a man, you just click the button and her bra falls off, and you can have the fun that you want to have. You see the programming? This is a sexist program. We got to really deal with that. Here's another one. The man who doesn't drink this, they're going to make the water fountain this tall, but the man who drinks it's going to make it this, so that she has to bend over, and your pervert ass can now look. Yeah, I call your pervert ass, okay? That's the programming. We have to set a better standard. My daughters are not seeing this type of programming. Here's another one. You know that bar that they have on the thing, on the TVs, where they want to blot things out? What do they call it, the censor bar? Well, if you don't drink this alcohol, then you're going to create it this way. But if you drink the alcohol, you create it this way. I wish I had more time to get into this. Here's another one. This is the changing screen. Okay, if okay, this is how you normally do it. But if you drink the alcohol, you're going to make it like this. So you can watch them with your pervert ass. You can watch them, okay? Again, my daughters deserve more than this. Y'all understand what I'm saying? All of you women in here, you deserve more than that. You understand what I'm saying? Again, setting a standard, going beyond the programming that has limited us, going beyond the programming that has enslaved our minds, and it goes across the board. Here's a lot of the programming. This is cultural programming with the Court 45, where my father used to drink and get drunk, beat up on my mother, so forth and so on. You drink this alcohol, and now you're together. Because, of course, drinking alcohol fortifies a happy relationship in a healthy family institution. My sons deserve more than that. And here's the solutions. I'm so sorry, Bob. I apologize. I'm just going to read it through real quick. Home environment matters the most. You got to set the home environment right if you want to make sure that your children's minds are free. Here are 10 things that you can do to keep your child's mind free. Number 1, screen the media content in advance of your children seeing it. As an adult, as a parent, you should take the time just to screen it. And if you don't have time to screen it, watch it with them. So if something comes up that's inappropriate, you can have an intellectual conversation about it. They're going to receive some of the programming, trust me. But you want to do your due diligence as a parent. Even if you don't have children and you have nieces, nephews, you know children in your neighborhood, same thing applies. You want to help them in these regards. Keep their minds free. Number 2, have intelligent, age-appropriate conversations about media manipulation. My older sons, they know about 911 fear-based mind control, programming, all that stuff. You got to have that conversation earlier, or as early as possible. Develop their intellectual faculty so they can ask who, what, where, why, when, and how, and show me the motherfucking evidence and proof. That's right, I went there. Okay, number 3, develop within your child adequate intellectual process. That means that you always have intellectual conversations with them. Very important. Number 4, always answer your children's questions. A lot of parents say, I don't want to answer that, shut up, be quiet. No, answer the questions, have the intellectual conversations, answer their questions, whatever the question may be. Number 5, allow them access to alternative information that is empowering. Key word, empowering, not the fear-based stuff that puts them in a state of fear because fear compromises the intellectual process. Give them the information that is empowering. Those are 5 things that I came up with. Here are 5 things that my wife came up with, and I'll be done. Number 6, engage in activities that build self-esteem so your children won't look outside of themselves for validation. You remember I showed you the what was that, the Rihanna and the Miley Cyrus and who else, Beyonce. A lot of young girls, they gravitate to that because their self-esteem wasn't built up in the first place, right? And they look outside of themselves for validation and also for an identity. My daughters know your archetype for womanhood is your mother, and she's a wonderful woman. It's not what we're seeing on TV, not that programming. We've got to be clear about that. We've got to protect our children, keep their minds free of that programming. Number 7, provide your children with music that has positive messages and positive images. My children will not be seeing the booty shake and you ain't nothing but a hoochie mama, right? You remember that? And all that. I mean, there's so much out there that is horrible. My children will not be receiving that. You got to keep your children protected from that. And if they are exposed to it, make sure they have the intellectual faculties to process what they're seeing. You see what I'm saying? Because they're going to get exposed to it. You can't protect them for everything. But at least do your part to make sure that they are sovereign in mind. They can ask the critical questions. Number 8, supervise your children's media exposure. Most of us, we didn't have supervision. We go in and we get on the internet, we watch what we want to, watch the TV, wait till parents get home, that kind of thing. No, we watch what our children watch. We make sure that whatever they're viewing is inappropriate. If it's inappropriate, we're going to talk about it. Make sure in advance we try to screen as much as possible. Always supervise your children's media exposure because there's a lot out there. 2 more. Number 9, have intelligent conversations with your children about the differences between appropriate and inappropriate media. One of the main words that we use in our house is appropriate. And we ask, is that appropriate? Is that inappropriate? That stimulates intellectual process. And oftentimes, if it's inappropriate, our children will say, no, that's inappropriate. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't do that. Is it appropriate? Yes, it's appropriate. Is it appropriate for your daddy to love your mother? Yes. You ask them those kinds of questions. That's the new programming, to keep them free. Okay, there's positive programming, there's negative programming. Have intelligent conversations with your children about the difference between appropriate and inappropriate media. And last one, number 10, answer age-appropriate questions that children have about sex or mating, as we call it inside of our house, prior to inappropriate media exposure. Because they're going to get it. It's all out there, but you got to have the intellectual conversations in advance to prepare them and ask the appropriate questions and answer the questions that they have. Very important. And this, by the way, last slide, ladies and gentlemen, is how I have been able to experience what my wife and I have created, a positive family institution, a healthy family institution, also giving birth to and raising 5 beautiful children whose minds are free. And we will continue to do our due diligence to keep their minds free so that someday when they come to the Free Your Mind Conference, they come up here on stage, Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that because of our parents and because of their due diligence, and they took the time to keep us safe from all the programming, the sexist programming and the male versus female war imprint programming and the negative relationships programming, and they did so much, and they raised us. They homeschooled us. They didn't give us vaccinations. They didn't do all the things that most of us experience. Because of that, I am sovereign of mind today. I have a free mind. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to free your mind so that the children will be free. My name is Lenon. Thank you so much.
Lenon honor, ladies and gentlemen.